kids both have been raised in the outdoors. Tiffany was attending school, and Michaela had just started kindergarten.
This is an extra special trip. Shelley's boyfriend, Roger, has just moved in and wants to make sure everything runs smoothly.
What helped the relationship is because the girls really liked Roger.
He was always very, very kind to me.
Hang on, let me get you a nap.
Tiffany, at 9 years old, was always reaching for a father figure.
I was like, okay, I guess we're gonna try to make this work because the kids really like you. You seem like a good dad.
There you go. Oh boy, oh boy. Okay, that's it.
The girls are my life, and they have always been my life. And I would do anything for them.
It's a good break to get out in the desert, and it's close enough. You can grab a couple packs of hot dogs and some buns, and we're good to go.
The family have driven from their home 40 miles away.
Okay.
For Roger, it's new territory. But Shelley has been coming to this area since she was a child.
Coming from a family that didn't have a lot of money, the entertainment that we would do as a family is go out in the desert.
The Arizona desert is a vast wilderness, covering 120,000 square miles. It's known as one of the world's harshest environments. But for Shelley and the kids, aged 9 and 5, it's a perfect place to take part in one of their favorite activities.
It's always fun. Every time we go out, it's fun.
Shelley is curious to know how her new boyfriend will get on.
Roger was the kind of guy that worked in an office, in air conditioning. And if things needed done at his house, he would have somebody come over and do it.
Pull.
Today, the family had their picnic somewhere new. Though Shelley knows the desert well, half an hour into their journey home, the landscape looks unfamiliar.
I could tell with the weed growth that it wasn't a well-used path. And I remember this road should be well-used.
Even though she's losing her bearings, Shelley hopes she'll pick up the trail.
But I thought, well, we'll just go up this road, see if it leads to a main road that I'm used to.
But the road becomes more uneven, and it seems they're going further off the beaten track.
We went along till I came to a dry riverbed.
Take a look.
And the sides of it were pretty steep.
I don't think we can make it.
Being in a two-wheel drive truck, your only traction is your back tires.
I says, oh, I'll drive. I'll get us through there.
We'll be out of here in no time.
Hoping he can save the day, Roger takes over.
The bumper got hung up on the downside, leaving the rear wheels off the ground spinning like this.
We're gonna have to stay the night.
Shelley knows just how dire their situation has become.
From the time the sun sets to the time that sun rises is very dangerous.
I only had one thing on my mind, and that was to get my girls out of that desert.
I don't really remember anybody falling asleep that night.
Armed with their skeet shooting gun, Shelley and Roger stay awake in the fear of lawless gangs of human smugglers from the Mexican border.
Them themselves have no regard for human life, and it don't even matter who it is.
It was just praying to God that the girls would be all right and they wouldn't get hurt or worse.
Relieved when the morning arrives without incident. Everyone tackles the day with renewed energy.
We're encouraged, you know, we're kind of energized to say, by gosh, we can do this.
We really thought daylight would help us so that we could see exactly what kind of situation we were in.
With the truck still stuck fast, Roger knows he's got to come up with something to get his new family home to safety.
Why don't you go play with Tiffany for a moment?
My brain started saying, Roger, you better think of something.
There was that truck we passed a while back. It may have a jack.
There was a Bronco that we had passed. The rims were gone, so we decided, well, let's at least try to get to that Bronco, see if it's got a jack in it, and then we can get started again.
It's going to be a 4-mile hike back to the Bronco. And with only 2 small bottles of water, they risk serious dehydration in the ferocious heat.
Are you sure?
I know you're told to stay with the vehicle, and I'm thinking the vehicle has AC. But if we sit there at the vehicle, we're going to be there for days. That road's untraveled.
Hey, where do you want me to put this food?
Behind the stove.
Steve is a vastly experienced sailor. A Coast Guard commander for 21 years, he has a lifelong love of the ocean.
Ross?
Yeah.
You got that halyard connected?
Yeah, it's all done.
When people get around the ocean, one or two things happen. They either fall in love with the ocean or they fall out of love with the ocean. And I can't really explain why it happens, but for a number of us who go out on the water, there's just an affinity, a feel for it that's like nothing else.
Where do you want the clothes?
Down in the drawers.
Steve's young crew today is a team of students from Texas A&M University.
Make sure that everything's secured.
I was real confident of the boat, and the crew were experienced young men who'd been sailing for a number of years, and it was looking to be a really great race.
Hey, Steve!
Hey. Is that it?
Yeah, we're getting there.
His right-hand man on board is a young sailor he's known for 3 years, 22-year-old Travis Wright.
I'd been sailing with Steve for 3 years at that point. An excellent sailor and a very safe person, but very experienced and definitely the leading presence on the boat. He was definitely fully in command.
As Steve bids his wife goodbye, he's all too aware of the responsibility he has for his young crew.
All right. Travis, can you do the stern line?
I was designated skipper of the vessel, and as such, the skipper is ultimately responsible for everything. It's not a responsibility that you take lightly, and it's not a responsibility you can walk away from.
Just keep it pointed 180 degrees due south.
Steve Guy is the least experienced sailor on board and is relishing the chance to take part in a big ocean race.
Travis was sitting next to me showing me kind of how to do things, and
Doing good.
I felt pretty good. You know, I'm in control of this boat, and it's just kind of a power rush because you're like, here I am on the open ocean doing what I love to do.
Enjoying yourself, Steve? Oh, yeah.
Everyone was ready to go, but you could also tell we were also in that competitive mood of we're wanting to do this right.
Here's a way to see how fast we're going. See? Adjust the sail and see how we go faster.
Okay.
As the race gets underway, the crew are in high spirits and excited by the challenge ahead.
Doing good.
Yeah.
It wasn't my time to go on deck yet. I just decided, okay, I'll get up, I'll get something to eat, I'll go, shoot the breeze with the guys on deck and see what's up and start getting settled in. That's when it all started going downhill.
Finding water inside the cabin is not unusual, but Travis instinctively suspects something is badly wrong.
I opened up the floorboard, and it just came pouring in.
Roger! Roger! We got water! We're taking on water! Hey, Steve! Steve!
What's going on?
We're taking on water!
And the boat went instantly into the water.
The boat just laid over into the water.
What happened? I don't know!
Up on deck, Skipper Steve is clinging to the capsized boat.
I was hanging underneath the boat because it wasn't still up out of the water at that point, thinking it was time to go.
A boat's going down! Everybody off!
In just a matter of seconds, the boat has completely overturned. Steve and the two students on deck escape the sinking boat.
Come on, guys. Hey, did you see anybody? No.
But Roger, Travis, and Steve Guy are trapped inside. And seawater is flooding in.
I'm not dying in here!
Yeah, I screamed it, I'm not dying in here. This is not where I'm gonna die.
Unless they can find a way out of the cabin, they are just seconds from being dragged to the bottom of the ocean.
Emotion's telling you at that point, you're screwed. I mean, there is no way out of a situation like this.
The water level is rising rapidly. Unless they can get out, they're just seconds from being dragged down with the sinking boat.
How do we get out of here? Through the hatch!
Their only escape route is a tiny hatch, but a powerful wall of seawater is pouring through it.
Are you kidding? Come on, it's the only way!
As I was trying to go down the second time, Roger grabbed my legs and pushed.
Travis! Over here!
Hey, Trav!
Travis! Move up! Hey!
Is that a boat?
On the horizon, they spot something that gives them a glimmer of hope.
You know, we're 60 miles off the coast of Texas. We are outside the shipping lanes already. Our best possible chance of rescue at this point in time is going to be a fishing boat that happens to be out here.
Save your energy. They're not going to hear you. Wait, this might work.
They do everything they can to catch the boat's attention.
Hopes were really high, hoping that maybe someone on the deck would be like, oh, what's that little light flashing out there, and tell someone on the bridge what was going on.
They're now pinning all their hopes on rescuers finding them. But even staying put is no guarantee of safety. The Mexican Gulf is a shark-infested body of water.
Big sharks. Those are the ones you worry about. Tigers are probably the most risky. They get really large. The sun was out. None of us had caps on. Fairly quickly, we started to burn.
My God, it was hot as heck. It felt like being in a sauna. We were just boiling.
Just your weight! I was heartbroken. So it was a good opportunity just to get away and start thinking about where my life was going.
Sonia had a bit of a split up just beforehand. So this hike was something I hoped that Sonia would enjoy. Even though the forecast was bad, it was still supposed to be a day or so away. We were hoping to complete the trip before the weather turned bad.
Sonia's on a steep learning curve. This is her toughest hike yet, so she'll be looking to Marnie to take the lead.
What if I slip? Don't slip.
Marnie is a very tough lady, incredibly headstrong, but I really like that in her.
It was firm snow, very steep, you would need crampons.
We won't even get 6 feet up there.
Neither of the women wants to turn back, but the only alternative is to climb around the wall of ice blocking their path.
But there's a bit of a path up there.
It looked like there was a way of climbing up over the bluffs by the snow and hopefully sidle around the ice. It was still very steep and definitely a climbing route, but I do have a lot of experience on this kind of terrain, and I knew Sonia was, natural in the mountains. She hadn't done climbing, serious mountaineering, but I wasn't thinking it would be like that.
I reckon we can do it.
We were very excited, and I guess the adrenaline is going as well. There was no doubt in our minds that we could do the climb.
The women reach a ridge that should take them around the ice. But the plan falls apart. The terrain is impassable without ropes.
Between us and the pass that we were trying to sidle around to, there was a very steep, uncrossable avalanche gully, completely uncrossable.
Unwilling to abandon the trip, Marnie decides that they can climb up to another ridge.
I was hoping if we climbed a little higher, we could get through.
We can't get across here, but if we nip up there, I reckon we can make it.
I was a little bit surprised. It looked like it would just be a long, long climb.
What, that ridge way up there?
But I completely trusted Marnie's judgment.
Okay.
She basically just said, follow my route, so it was always her that went first.
Now you just want to watch out for the loose scree. You don't want to scuff your new boots.
What starts as a scramble quickly turns into a serious climb. And as they get higher, novice climber Sonia starts getting nervous.
There were points where you didn't have proper handholds. It was quite a surreal experience because it was a mix between adrenaline and being scared and adrenaline and being scared again.
Kick away the loose stuff and jam your toe into that bit.
To find a way around the ice, the women have to climb higher and higher. Marnie has underestimated the severity of the ascent and overestimated her friend's climbing ability.
Marnie, this is just crazy.
Sonia was beginning to get scared of the train, and with very good reason.
When I looked down, it was an incredibly long fall. It was just pure sharp rock. So if you did slip, then you were going to break some bones. That did set in panic for me. I froze on the side of the mountain.
It was a very big mistake on my part taking Sonia into that terrain. Your survival depends on you being careful about what you're doing, and if you panic, you're not being careful.
Marnie needs to calm Sonia down, fast.
Just relax and take some breaths, okay?
It was terrifying. If you fell, you would fall down hundreds of feet and die. You couldn't afford to fall.
I can't do this. This is too hard. I'm gonna go back down.
Sonia? Sonia, you can't go back down. It's too dangerous.
I was quite certain then it was better for us to keep carrying on going uphill because climbing up is a lot easier than going down. It's a lot safer.
We've got to keep going up, okay? Don't look down. Keep calm. Try and find a foothold.
Against her every instinct, Sonia presses on. After 4 hours of climbing, they're nearly 200 meters up a near vertical cliff face. At last, the summit is within reach. But now, they hit another problem. The rock above them is dangerously unstable.
It's a case of what looks like solid rock falling apart. And if you're relying on that to hold some of your weight, well, that's a disaster.
I put my foot on the rock and it fell from underneath my foot.
Mine is just crumbling.
I couldn't hold on to the rock much longer. It was very scary.
What do I do?
Shift your weight!
I was clinging on, trying to scramble my other foot or wedge it into the rock just to get one solid foothold. I knew if I were to fall further, it would be disastrous.
Help me!
Sonia, look at me. I want you to
Experienced climber Marnie has managed to scramble down.
Okay.
Now she has to calm Sonia and guide her back to safety.
Now get that leg and swing it round. I've got you, Sonia. I've got you.
Ready?
Yep.
Go.
Yes.
I can't do this anymore. I can't go on any further.
Sonia's safe, but the shock of the fall has drained her strength and her confidence.
We've got to keep moving.
I really needed to stop because mentally and physically I couldn't last much longer.
Come around and up. Put your hands where I put mine.
Pushing on, the women face a dilemma. The terrain above is even steeper, yet going back down is out of the question.
The rock quality was really poor. The rock you're standing on and the rock you're holding, all of it could just crumble.
Marnie realizes she can't push Sonia any further.
I want to stop. I can't go on.
She needs to find a spot where they can take a break.
I think I see something.
There was a very small, flat patch, and it was the only safe place on that entire, cliff section.
The 11-year-old Leia finds herself having to do things she never imagined, just to keep them alive. It's a clear spring morning, and David Hunt is preparing for his annual cross-country snowmobile trip with his 11-year-old daughter Leia.
Cool, eh?
It was just something that we promised that we would do every year, something together.
Oh, you look at that.
We always had fun together, no matter what, there was never a dull moment.
Mum Barbara and little brother William will be staying at home. It's Leia's big day. But with the temperature plunging to minus 22 degrees, David is wondering whether to postpone the trip. Leia and David are traveling on specially designated snowmobile trails. 30,000 kilometers of frozen freeways. After 2 hours on the road, they stop for a hot chocolate and check their directions.
You know, I think it's only about another half hour before we get to the hotel.
And I looked at the Skidoo map, finding the closest direction to get to Saint-Jérôme. Because what is fun about snowmobiling is if you do want to go in a direction, let's say to my cottage, there's 5 or 6 different trails that you can take to get there.
Leia is already dreaming about her favorite part of their trips, diving into a heated hotel swimming pool.
That was my passion. I loved being in pools. And so the idea of having a heated pool was always very exciting for me.
Leia and David arrive at Saint-Jérôme before nightfall.
Hi there. You have vacancies?
Yes, we do.
Excellent.
And do you have a pool? Unfortunately, we don't have a pool.
When we entered the hotel, we noticed that they didn't have a pool. And I looked forward to going into their heated pool so much that I convinced my father to go on for another hour until we reached the next hotel where they had a pool.
Like any doting father,
Thank you.
David can't say no to his daughter.
So I looked at the map and I said, well, we're about an hour and a half away. So I figured, okay, Leia, no problem at all, then let's continue. We got about another hour and a half to go.
David knows that snowmobiling at night brings a new set of dangers.
You're not in cities, so you have all these animals to deal with too. If something was to go wrong, you'd rather much be in the daytime than at the nighttime.
In spite of the dangers, David and Leia make good progress.
It was a new trail. We'd never been this way in the snowmobile before, and the trails were very good.
But 30 minutes later, the trail Leia and David are on starts to change. High winds have blown snow in drifts across the track, and the grooming vehicle that should have cleared it has broken down.
The visibility of the trail was very, very bad. You really had to be cautious.
David has to stay focused. Hidden dangers lie beneath the snow. If they drift off the track, they could smash into concealed rocks and branches.
I was just anxious to get out of there in a way and to get onto a better trail and to get to the motel at this point. This wasn't fun.
With the light fading and the trail fast vanishing, David considers his options.
I looked at the map. I saw that if we had to turn around where we were to go to another trail, this would take us 2 hours out of our way and that we would never be able to make it to that motel before 8, 9 o'clock at night.
David faces a major dilemma. Lose time turning back for better trails, or carry on through heavy, ungroomed snow.
So I figured, well, if the trail's no good, we'll just go slow. At least it's going to save us time.
David presses on, hoping the trail will improve. But up ahead, a hidden trap awaits them. Metal guardrails, buried by the drifts, lurk just beneath the snow.
All of a sudden, my ski was stuck.
The metal skis are caught on the rails.
And I was just trying to turn the skidoo, and it wouldn't turn.
It's steering them towards the edge of a ravine.
My first reaction was to turn around and take Leia and throw her off. And then I realized, oh my God. That's when I realized that this is gonna really hurt. It felt like somebody had taken a hammer and smashing your knee right against the concrete.
Leah!
Throbbing pain that I've never experienced before in all my life.
Dad! Dad, please, just get up!
David needs to get out of the ravine and back to a hospital fast. But with a shattered knee, he can't move.
I couldn't just get up, man, and get out of there.
Dad! What's wrong?
Girl, come on. You're great, Leah. Oh.
Leia, all 45 kilos of her, manages to help pull her badly wounded father back up to the top of the trail.
Getting out of the ravines was one of the hardest things that I ever had to do. It was with the determination of Leia and the will of Leia that I got out of there.
Oh, good girl. Good girl.
Crucially, Leia's now given them a chance of being spotted by other snowmobilers. David and Leia are all alone. The temperature is dropping. They're 11 kilometers from the next town. Thanks to their meticulous preparations, Rachel and Jeremy have packed a lightweight survival sheet. It's now all that stands between them and the bone-chilling force of the storm.
I can feel my biceps, my abdominal muscles, everything clenching. It's like for every 2 feet that I go up, I slide 1 foot back down the rope.
Rachel knows that time is running out. Unaware that Jeremy is climbing back up the rope, she prepares to make the toughest decision of her life.
After half an hour, I thought, I've actually got to go and deal with this.
Even if Jeremy is dead, Rachel decides she cannot cut the rope. Instead, she risks her own life by going to look for him.
I leaned back and I remember looking down and seeing this bright beam of light. It was Jeremy's head torch. I just couldn't believe it. I felt like it was the most wonderful moment of my life. And I just completely forgot about the storm and where we were, and I gave them this massive hug.
So pleased to see you.
Okay. I was just so glad to be back.
The reunion brings home what they now mean to each other. But still, 3,000 meters up a storm-lashed mountain, Rachel and Jeremy remain in grave danger. If they're to survive the freezing night, the next challenge is to find shelter. And their only hope is to reach a small ledge 20 meters away.
I'll go first, and then you follow, all right? Okay, sit back here.
We've been through hell. Now we've landed on this ledge. But it's halfway up the mountain.
Thanks to their meticulous preparations, Rachel and Jeremy have packed a lightweight survival sheet. It's now all that stands between them and the bone-chilling force of the storm.
You okay? Yeah.
As soon as you stop moving, you can feel how cold it is. By our calculations, -10. With that sort of wind, it's -25.
I'm now shivering uncontrollably. My fingers had gone completely white and were starting to freeze with frostbite.
We need to warm our hands and feet every hour, okay?
To prevent frostbite, the couple must restore blood circulation immediately.
This is gonna hurt.
Just do it.
It's an incredibly painful experience as the blood starts circulating back.
Oh.
The feeling is like sticking your hand into a burning flame and leaving it there.
As the night progresses, temperatures plummet to life-threatening levels. Trapped 3,000 meters up the mountain, the couple now face a battle to survive.
It was apparent how close we were to becoming severely hypothermic.
The couple know that as hypothermia takes hold, the decreased oxygen flow to the brain will cause drowsiness, then death. It's vital they stay awake.
If one of us had gone to sleep, it would have been far too tempting for the other one just to have a few minutes as well and then not wake up.
But we regret that we must inform your mother. She may not see you again.
This is not right at all. There is something wrong here.
There's only one way to fend off the animals and get the rest his body needs. A fire. Although he has no matches left, he's thought of a smart alternative.
I shorted the positive and the negative battery terminals in an attempt to start a fire. However, there just wasn't quite enough juice in it to work.
There's one last hope.
I decided I'm going to try to build a fire using my shoelaces.
Friction is the most ancient way of lighting a fire. With patience, it should generate enough heat to start a small flame.
That went on for 3 hours, 4 hours. It would just get hot enough to smoke a little bit and stop, but everything there was so wet that the fire just wouldn't start.
Come on.
I was sitting on the floor there just rubbing away in this tree trunk, and I'm thinking, you know, this is not going to work, and my back is in excruciating pain now.
Everything Ken has tried has failed. He's losing the battle. The jungle has started to claim his body. Now, it will claim his mind. In the last 13 days, all he's had to keep him alive are a few rancid fruits and dribbles of water sucked from plants.
I was thinking all the time that this could go on forever, that I'm never gonna get out of here. I know I can't last forever. Eventually I would die, but I can't let myself dwell on that.
Dehydration is tearing Ken apart.
I know I need to eat, but the first call is for water. My body's saying it needs water.
He's so desperate, he's forced to drink stagnant, dirty water.
And as I'm dipping my camera bag to use as a filter to try to filter out some whatever contaminants could be in this water, I see a small lizard. And this little lizard's about 4 inches long. I could just swallow it whole. I started to swallow him whole, and then he got stuck in my throat because it was still alive. So then I killed him. He ended up being, I guess you could call that a meal.
Desperation is pushing Ken to a place he's never gone before. Fantasy and reality are starting to blur.
I began to build these elaborate scenarios about what was going to happen when I walked out of here.
Taxi!
I had this credit card, and I was going to get a taxi. I was going to buy some clothes and get to a hotel.
Hey, take me into town, please.
I'll get that, Ken.
And it isn't just Ken's mind that is unraveling. His body is falling apart too.
It was mostly my legs that were cut up from going through the brush. Those sores on my ankles weren't healing. I was beginning to be very concerned about if they were going to get infected or not. I found out that I've got these scabs on the upper part of my leg that are beginning to heal because they're dry. So I began to take some of the dry scabs and use them as Band-Aids to patch some of the wounds around my ankle. It was kind of like a Band-Aid.
Ken's situation is desperate. Lost, alone and weak. He's being pushed to the edge of sanity.
This helicopter all of a sudden pulls up. There's some kind of loudspeaker in there, and I can hear what they're saying.
Mr. Wilson, you're a truly amazing man. But we regret that we must must inform your mother. She may not see you again.
This is not right at all. There is something wrong.